white people are offering black politicians money under the table, on top of the table.
Yes.
Our people are Americanized. South Africans are Americanized. And that means we are being stupefied. The American systems precisely work on the basis of making you stupid. The ANC operates by erasure. June 16, it was Black Power Day. It is now called Youth Day. Sharpeville Day was the day that the PAC of Robert Sobukwe led a serious program against the apartheid regime. Now it is called Human Rights Day. We go and buy cattle raised by black labor, raised on stolen land to appease or respect our ancestors. How is that? When the news come and it is the time for economic indicators, we, as black people, we just stand, that's the time to go make coffee. You have no relationship with the price of gold, with the price of platinum, which is going to be announced. But that gold and platinum come from your land. 55% of the population is poor. Poor. That is 30 million people in South Africa are poor. They depend on the 350 rands in a country with so much wealth. Now, this is satanic. This is evil.
In a world where Africans have lost their roots, it has become of vital importance to document our ways. In an effort to reverse the brainwashing of the past, where we were made to believe our ways are demonic, we are pressed to create dignified and respectful platforms to unpack our spiritual ways. Welcome to another episode of MOYA Political Series, and this is where I bring you guys guests who are going to make you be able to say the clever things in the clever rooms. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. And today is no different. And I know you love this, comrade. And this is such a nice surprise for you guys. Can you believe it? We've been watching his journey for a while now. And personally, I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they were like, when EFF lost MNGXITAMA, we knew Gucci, oh, snap. So now actually, ANDILE, that's where we want to take it from, Your political journey has been so fascinating to watch. And from this guy who was chased down Parliament Road to now being this guy who is in control and intimidating the system, and I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I'm in a good home politically.
Yes. Do you want to remove a tissue there? Gone.
I'm in a good home politically. The dynamics inside the ANC with President Zuma have provided a new possibility. It is clear that the progressive agenda inside the ANC was being suffocated, criminalized. I mean, all the progressive people we've seen, from President Zuma, Ismahashule, even progressive black managers, Abo Brian Molefe, Machela Koko, and others. There was a moment where the white system was so vicious. Also, after President Zuma's candidate lost that ANC conference, and Cyril took over. And I must repeat again, Cyril was given 1 billion rand to buy that ANC conference. And this is not me saying it. It was the public protector's report after she investigated. And up to today, Cyril has concealed those who gave him the money. So it is not just the Pala thing. This guy is bad news from even the 70s, if you look at his history. So it is clear that that reactionary agenda had captured the ANC. And as I say, President Zuma uses these dialectical moves, where he creates a contradiction to be able to move forward. So initially he said, I'm staying in the ANC, but I'm going to vote for Mkhonto weSizwe. That looks like a contradiction in terms. However, in fact, he was simply saying the ANC has lost. We are moving into a new path. And those who want the real change will have to vote for this new path. We are ANC members, but the ANC itself is no longer our home. We need to create a new home which is Umkhonto weSizwe. And that is how, I even argue that we need to formally study President Zuma's political philosophy and political action. Even in his tenure of presidency, when the West was dominating us through the IMF and the World Bank, he put energy into the BRICS process. So he's creating that dynamic of opening another door. Here at home, the media at one point was so anti-Zuma, even the SABC. He supported the AN7, which is an alternative. So President Zuma is a person who politically always finds an alternative when the doors are closing. And Umkhonto weSizwe is one of these developments. And it is a beautiful home. There's a lot of love inside it, a lot of camaraderie, and a powerful team he has built inside that parliament. I mean, Bolaki Montana, Siyabonga Gama, Brian Molefe, our chief whip, Mzwanele Manyi. These are really, really powerful individuals who are helping us to shape the positions that we take and train a lot of young, unknown, but very, very astute Umkhonto weSizwe members. So give us a year, you will see that parliament is going to be a different place.
So, I'm glad you're starting at President Zuma because, I mean, I'm a person who represents a lot of people who feel that the MK is centered around President Zuma. And I think that we need to hear why, and we need to hear how will that take us forward. And perhaps you need to break down to us who is President Zuma, because we only have the media narrative of him. And it's very difficult even now for a lot of us because we're like, we can see the energy of MK and we can feel it, but at the same time we're like, no, but they said this about this guy. So it gets hard to, that's why a lot of people are holding back also,
The media have done a great job in demonizing President Zuma, but they had to, because at one point, and that is where when we started supporting him, he had decisively moved to the left. As a sitting president, President Zuma says in 2017, black political parties must unite in parliament. Black political parties must unite to make sure that we retain land. Now, that is a proper revolutionary, Pan-Africanist, even black consciousness position. By the way, I must repeat that Thabo Mbeki wrote a 30-page document denouncing President Zuma's call for black unity. He said Zuma is being anti-ANC because the ANC is not for black people. The ANC is for non-racialism, it's for everybody. Thabo Mbeki wrote a 30-page document, you must go see it, on the land question and land expropriation, denouncing land expropriation, saying if you're going to take land, for whose people? Because in the ANC, everybody is our people. So when President Zuma called for black political parties to unite, ideologically, it was a break with the ANC non-racialism of the Freedom Charter. He was harping back to the prior black nationalism of the ANC before 1955 with the adoption of the Freedom Charter, which said the land belonged to all who live in it and all that goes with that, which then gave us the PAC, those youth league leaders who said this is not the path of the ANC. The ANC was formed. By the way, the ANC was called Native Congress at its beginning. It did not accept white people. A very interesting part of our history is that the ANC only accepted white people around 1985. Yes. The PAC at its beginning accepted white people because of its broad definition of an African.
Yes.
But the ANC was a black nationalist organization up until the 70s, and only in 85 did they actually accept white members. So I'm saying inside the ANC there's always been this contestation of black nationalism and the white idea. Now the ANC is totally a white party. That is why it finds its home within the DA ideological leadership. So there's been this contestation. There's another time we can talk about the group of 8 inside the ANC, the Makiwane brothers, who found big problem inside the ANC because they were saying the ANC has been hijacked by whites. They were hounded out of exile, the Makiwane brothers. They went back to the Transkei. Joe Slovo, that white man who led Mkhonto weSizwe at some point, sent soldiers to go murder them in the Transkei because they were saying the ANC is being hijacked by white people. So this contestation inside the ANC of white people and black nationalism is real and has been continuing for a very long time. And I'm arguing that President Zuma represents that radical black nationalism stream inside the ANC. And you know, when you talk to him privately, you'll get to understand his attitude towards whiteness. He has a big disdain for whiteness, for white supremacy and white racism. He is totally opposed to it, including white individuals. He has stories that he tells about white comrades inside the ANC, how racist they were in exile. Another time he will talk to him about his experiences, and he names them, at least at the private conversations. And he keep on saying, you need to protect the black agenda. You need to drive the black agenda. That is why we are so at home with Mkhonto weSizwe, because we believe it's the revival of the progressive pro-black project, which has been abandoned by the contemporary ANC.
You know, Abelungu are terrified of MK. And I want to know, what is the stance of MK on white people, and, you know, where, because that's what they want to know, actually.
But if you see the group that President Zuma has put together, you can understand and read from there that
yes,
it's a pro-black project. Not only that, pro-African, because you know, Mkhonto weSizwe is arguing that land belongs to the people through the kings. So we're going right pre-colonial to argue that land of Africans was always land identifiable to a kingdom. And of course, our kings were the first to be defeated. And then they defeated all nations. And ultimately, even the urban African was defeated. I mean, you know, the Sharpeville massacre is a very good example of how the urban people were, Africans were brutally suppressed and murdered. So Mkhonto weSizwe is arguing that we must have a quarrel with history. You can't accept history. You can't accept that you live in a township. You can't accept that you are landless. You can't accept that the wealth of this country, you have no association with it. So part of the revolutionary process is to quarrel with history, to refuse to accept the terms of the oppressor, to say that we need a new slate, we need to redefine who we are, and informed by this African ethic. Mkhonto weSizwe is very big with this African identity.
yes.
Also, President Zuma, as we know, he has not been removed from the cultural practices of his people. If you take Thabo Mbeki and you take President Zuma, you can see there's like day and night.
Yes.
And so from that kind of respect for African idioms, African ways of doing things, Mkhonto weSizwe is a proper anti-colonial movement. And we are not ashamed to say the land belongs to the people through the kings and queens. This tenure system, land holding system, which today is imposed by white people. You know, white people came here, they took our land and they wrote themselves pieces of papers called title deed. It's like I take your car and then I write myself on ownership slip and register it with the deeds office, and it's accepted that this land belongs to you. So Mkhonto weSizwe make us question fundamentally the historical processes which has happened and put us where we are. We must refuse to accept our position as workers. To live, you must work. You go to the mine, you work. You don't ask the question, who owns this mine? And how did they come to own this mine, which is property of black people? So we are asking fundamental questions about how we arrived where we are and make sure that justice is done. So Umkhonto Wesizwe provides us with the possibility to ask for reparations, for instance. It's shocking. White people arrived here, took our land, made us slaves, brought apartheid to make sure that they create a fake majority of themselves in parliament to make laws that favored them. They've not paid reparations. They've not even acknowledged. Now we have them in the government of national unity, making them ministers and so on. So we are undermining the historical process and also reducing our possibility to ask for reparations when these political two-netherings, as they call, happens. And by the way, it is my friend Sello Malema who normalized this idea of giving settlers and land thieves political power.
Whoa, why do you say that?
Because remember, he is the first to give the DA political party power right here in Johannesburg.
And we told them not to do that.
Of course.
But it's strategy, I remember that.
And now how did they criticize the ANC when the ANC gives the same whites political power? Because they've done it, they've normalized it. And we criticized them viciously at the time.
Did.
And we argued that this was an agenda of London, because they did that immediately after they returned from London, to call the DA the better devil. How can you have a better devil? The devil is the devil. How can you elevate the ANC into the primary contradiction instead of the white power, which is the real problem? The ANC is just the bodyguard of the white power. We have to defeat white power to be able to get land. We must defeat white power to be able to get the economy in our hands. The ANC is nothing, quite frankly. It's just a stir boy, a water boy of the white system. In fact, the ANC has Bantustanized our politics. Remember apartheid, to divide and rule. It created those Bantustans. So the ANC has become the Bantustan of our national politics to precisely continue white power. And that is why President Zuma has moved away from the ANC. Our people have to move away from the ANC. The ANC is no longer that ship that has to take us out of this trouble. It is a captured ship. It is now have a captain who is a white project driving us further away from liberation. The ANC must be criticized, must be exposed, and must be done with. We need a new hope, a new possibility, which MK provides. And that is why our PAC, which has gone join the GNU, I don't know how Africa are going to explain this. Because this is a betrayal of...
it's dead.
You know.
It was suicide.
So few leaders will get some perks as a result of being in government and so on, blue lights, and that goes with that. But the Africanist agenda, as driven by the Pan-Africanist Congress, has come to an end. You cannot co-rule with the settler, the oppressor. And ideologically, that whole GNU, so-called GNU, is driven by the DA agenda. The PAC will be asked after, if this whole marriage of convenience lasts for 5 years, you were minister of land. Where is the land? They gave the PAC land to kill it, knowing very well that there will be no land redistribution, there will be no land return, but the minister is PAC. So how do you explain this?
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, see, Cyril is shrewd, is clever, is well advised by white capital about how to deal with black people, how to deal with the black agenda.
They're steps ahead of us.
They are. They are. I mean, you know, at a time when Cyril was campaigning, when they gave him that 1 billion rand, he was visibly advised by the Stellenbosch mafia. They even went to his meeting in Soweto. They showed their faces. They were sitting there. to say now is the time to rescue the agenda, because President Zuma's radical economic transformation was coming up very, very, virulently. It was a very high moment of radical economic transformation. And the white agenda was so terrified. By the way, Lord Robin Renwick, that name, we need to know it, because that man is responsible for most of the problems that we have. He is the man who convinced Nelson Mandela to stay away from nationalization. Google him, Robin Renwick. He, after President Zuma's candidate lost that conference, he wrote a whole book, and in it he thanks the opposition parties, that will be the EFF and all those Zuma must go people. He thanks them for saving South Africa from this Zuma agenda. That is the Lord, the guy who represents the Queen, thanking political parties, opposition parties, civil society organizations in South Africa for defeating President Zuma. So as a revolutionary, there's no way you cannot associate yourself with President Zuma. There's no way. This man is seen as a big threat by the white agenda globally. And he has played a significant role in uniting progressive forces, even globally. You know, his relationship with Putin is very warm. They are comrades. By the way, he speaks Russian, he speaks Portuguese, and a few other languages, actually. President Zuma is a super smart man. I have huge admiration. And you know, as a guy who educated at Wits, I had my middle class.
We respect you. You know? So that's why we're like, but Andile likes him. Oh, what are we going to do? Oh my God. We've got a quandary here. What's going to
No, initially I didn't. I wrote an essay from Zuma to Mbeki, what is the difference? And where, at that time, I criticized him. I was saying he's running the same neoliberal agenda and so on. But subsequent to that, when I had my first encounter with him, you spent the whole night just talking, and I'm listening to this guy. I'm just blown away. I mean, he is properly trained as a political scientist. He reads situations very, very deeply. You must hear him talk about, for instance, how Samora Machel and NATO from Angola, how their different projects led to the defeat of Samora Machel and Angola being able to help us to a point where Angola defeats the South African army through the assistance of Cuba. You know, that historical battle of Cuito Valley. But he explains that it is out of the political system and thought processes of both Samora Machel and NATO that explains the different political responses to the South African attack on Angola and Mozambique. And Mozambique, the apartheid government, they defeated the government of Samora Machel. Not only that, they even murdered him because of the political strategy, which was not sufficiently scientific in terms of President Zuma. I mean, I listened to that intervention and understood that his political thought is scientific. The Russians did a very good job with training President Zuma. So he does nothing by mistake. Nothing. Every act of President Zuma, he's thinking 10 steps what is likely to happen. And when he moves like this, he already knows what is the likely outcome in the future. So he's a leader that we need to study.
And that's why he said, I'll see you around. We are officially in around now.
Exactly. I mean, Umkhonto weSizwe's votes were stolen and so on, but it still came the third biggest political party in South Africa within 6 months of its
I think it was probably the biggest party if we're going to be realistic, but of course we've got to play along to IEC and stuff, because what we know about our people is that they move in a mob. And MK at that point...
This was a big wave.
It was in its... So the votes rigging, I saw that people were laughing at you guys about But you forgot the deadline or something. They were like, you guys were lying about the vote rigging.
No. We are going to reinstate that application. There were just some technical issues with how it was initially lodged. But the lawyers have been given the mandate to relook into that matter, to challenge it, and to make sure that they don't steal our votes in the coming elections.
Yes.
We need to prepare for that. We are saying MK must be so organized that we will know before the IEC announces what votes we have. Because you just need to set up a proper system that accounts for every voting station. We must have party agents. When the voting station closes, that slip that shows which party got what numbers must be sent to a central processing area where we will do the number crunching ourselves, even long before the IEC has done its job. We have to do that to be able to make sure that we protect the votes of Umkhonto we Sizwe. We need to set up that system.
What do you make of the allegations that the IEC is controlled by white capital and the ANC?
The IEC openly take pictures with agents of the American system. And there's these rumors that they are somehow involved in the back way of the system of. So that is clear possibility of rigging, because we know white capital, global capital, imperialism is terrified of Umkhonto we Sizwe. They know a government of Umkhonto we Sizwe will go against their interest in a big way. So they are doing everything to arrest the growth of Umkhonto we Sizwe. So we have to be ideologically suspicious of all the moves of our enemy. Our enemy never does anything in our interest. So when they come close to the voting system, we must ask, what are they doing there? What is the agenda? Because we know they have been very consistent. They kill our leaders, they kill revolutionaries, they kill revolutionary movements, they create conflicts amongst our people. Why will they not steal votes of a revolutionary movement?
And xa uthetha ngeMelika, if uyijongile situation yalapha eMzantsi, uyayibona bayangena. And bona also in the entertainment industry, xa abantu bethu, they are there at the BETs and Dondons, all these American platforms. It's not by coincidence.
People forget that the CIA has been involved in the cultural space because they understand that through culture, that's how you capture our people.
Yes.
Our people are Americanized. South Africans are Americanized. And that means we are being stupefied. The American systems precisely work on the basis of making you stupid. And once you adopt it, you no longer think about the big questions. You just looking at...
excited Chris Brown bayeza.
Exactly. And just look how amount of monies we pay their artists versus our artists. That is to show that imperialism has worked our minds. We are just a colony of America in a sense. But they buttress that through culture. And culture is not political, it's not force, it's not the police. It's you.
It's energy.
Exactly. And accepting this and identifying with this project and therefore reproducing it and erasing your essence, your being, your own cultural expressions. And that is something that I want to talk about, the Heritage Day nonsense. We are so oppressed that we have come to accept the identities that are being given to us by the oppressor. And firstly, they remove. The ANC operates by erasure, historical erasure. All the historical moments which antagonistic to the white program are being erased. June 16, it was Black Power Day. It is now called Youth Day. So they remove the Black Power aspect, which is antagonistic to the white project. Even if you go to Sharpeville Day was the day that the PAC of Robert Sobukwe led a serious program against the apartheid regime. Now it is called Human Rights Day. They are erasing Sharpeville to erase the contributions of the PAC, to erase the radicalness of that moment. So you just call it Human Rights Day. They've done the same with Ushaka Day. Now they call it Heritage Day, so that we forget what King Shaka represents. And then, you know, the thing that I gave a talk to Mkhonto Sizwe on Heritage Day, and I raised a very controversial question. I say, okay, since they took the land, they took the cows, they took the goats. Now, when we do libation for our people, we go and buy cattle raised by black labor, raised on stolen land to appease or respect our ancestors. How is that? So, a colonial system has dispossessed us, and now we rely on it to do the things that are essential for Africanness. Even the snuff that we use is packaged and sold, commercialized by the white agenda. Look at the attire of our traditional days. AmaXhosa kuthiwa ngamadaki. Basotho bana le lefitori. Lefitori is Victoria, Queen Victoria. Lefitori is a blanket that Queen Victoria gave the Basotho king back then. And now it has become part of the cultural identity of Basotho. So, and you know who controls this market? It is apparently, again, Johann Rupert. Here at Ratanda, there's a big shop that sells all these African expressions. By the way, even in Nsimbi, we don't have a company, a manufacturing in Nsimbi here. They were from Czechoslovakia, now the Chinese are sending us. I'm just saying that we need to rethink about these cultural norms and practices and how somehow they are permitted by colonialism and they're being commercialized. If I die now, my family are going to buy a cow from a white man. Why must you go buy from a white man a cow to make sure that my soul somehow is returned to our people? We are radically cut off from our African essence. And that is why I propose in that meeting of MK that perhaps we don't have a mahlati, we don't have mountains. I mean, we are being denied access to our caves. So I suggested in that meeting that perhaps we need to suspend these practices until we have our land back and until the cow that is slaughtered to appease our ancestors is come from black hands, come from black ownership. We can't be practicing our culture by enriching the colonizer who has put us in this position where we are landless, we don't have cows, we are a people that has been radically decultured. We have been uncultured. We have been radically cut off, as I say, from the essence of what we are. That cutting off find expression also, as I always make the example, when the news come and it is the time for economic indicators, we, as black people, we just stand, that's the time to go make coffee. Because you have no relationship with the price of gold, with the price of platinum, which is going to be announced. But that gold and platinum come from your land. Not only that, they have made you a worker that goes and risk your life to go to the belly of the earth to dig your minerals and hand them over to the oppressor. and we have accepted that as normal. So Mkhonto Wesizwe says we must disrupt that. It is not normal.
Yeah.
It is not acceptable.
Yeah.
It is not justice. It must be corrected.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense why these multinationals, like literally you're saying, they're taking the gold and moving out, and it doesn't affect anybody in the community. When you look at, we were at Beggars Dal the other day, where? Western area.
Yeah.
Like everything is a mess there. It's, and I was just like, but this is a mining town. How come these mines haven't?
Yeah, they literally, you see, the white thought,
Sure.
the white system is violent. It's a rapey kind of culture. Because if you think about the relationship with the earth, it's raping the earth. Like you say, look at those mining towns. They went in, they raped the earth, and they have left the environment unusable.
Unusable, inhabitable, but there are people there.
Exactly. Our people are sick. There's all kinds of diseases generated, and there's poverty. Poverty, so much poverty in those mining towns. We are fighting an evil system. And that is why the ideological work that MK has to do is to make visible the invisible hand of the enemy, to make visible the evilness of the system, so that our people understand that life is not, this is not normal. It is not normal that we are trapped in township and squatter camps in a country with so much wealth. It is not normal that, in South Africa, 55% of the population is poor. Poor. That is 30 million people in South Africa are poor. They depend on the 350 rands in a country with so much wealth. Now, this is satanic. This is evil. And we have to use such graphic language to try to raise the consciousness of our people. We cannot accept these conditions. God loved us so much that He gave us so much wealth. But they came with their ships, dromedaries, Recher, and Goede
And the good ship Jesus.
And they've destroyed us, and they've created heaven on earth for themselves. And we live in perpetual hell. If you want to have a graphic representation of what has happened here, you must just look at Sandton and Alex. Side by side, literally. Look at how white people live in Sandton and how black people live in Alex. Alexandra is a living hell. We packed on top of each other like sardines. White people, just a stone throw away, they live in heaven. Those houses,
I know, those are
10-room houses for a family of 2 people. In fact, I have proposed this before, tax every room which is not occupied, so that we take the money and build houses for people in Alex. Or alternatively, those rooms you don't use, people from Alex must come and occupy them. You can't have heaven and hell side by side in the same country, in the same nation, in the same system. It's not acceptable. But we've accepted. So real change will come the day the Alex people look across and see the injustice. Justice will happen when the people of Alex, with their rats and their dogs, move across to heaven to cause havoc for heaven, so that somehow heaven shares the wealth that it has with the majority. When we have accepted the terms of historical defeat like we have now, there's no chance for justice. We have to question deeply the terms of this historical injustice and defeat of the African people to be able to agitate and argue for change. Let me give you another example. I met a very rich Jewish guy. He was tracking me in Sandton in a bookshop. By the way, he offered me money for my organization back then.
What? Okay.
Yes. And then he set a follow-up meeting. I went to the meeting. I did not tell my political party that there was an offer for money. he told me that there's substantial amount of money from Israel, but I must accept the money first before I get to know where it comes from.
And what you must do.
And I'm sitting there and I know our account is 00. I'm having a conference with myself. What must happen here? My one softer guy says, you must take the money. My radical black consciousness guy said, no, we can't take the money. We rather remain poor. And I turned to him and I said, no, we can't accept it, your money. He says, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
We knew that there was a real big possibility that you'll reject this money.
And the whites know who is who in our zoo.
Exactly.
They know who they can give money to, and they know who not to even bother.
So we don't know who has accepted that money. When our people are moving this direction and that direction, it is probably part of that money which is controlling their flip-flopping on big questions in this nation. White people are offering black politicians money under the table, on top of the table. I mean, Rise Mzansi, this party, Songes was given 50 million rand. So Songes was sitting there representing the Oppenheimer family. It's an Oppenheimer entity. And he's sitting in our national parliament making laws. In whose interest is he serving? Why would they give him 15 million rand? White supremacy today does not need white people to be there. Yeah. It reproduces itself through black people. But if you are its servant, you'll be well taken care of. And you must see the ANC people inside parliament, how they embrace whiteness, how they are fascinated by this white power. You know, the camaraderie between them and the DA. It is just shocking. The black majority are tenants in South Africa. We have no rights whatsoever. Land is in the hands of the white settler minority. We are subhuman. Even this constitution of rights and so on, what rights do you have when you are landless, when you're poor, when you're hungry?
All right, guys, you've reached the end of part 1. To watch part 2, you have to be part of the MOYA community, which is paying less than 20 Rand a month. So not only do you subscribe, can you just press the join button there, put in your banking details, so that every month, you're paying your tithe. So those of us who are within, let's go to part 2.